next episode of the Gaming Nights of the Roundtable. We've got a few people in tonight to discuss the conversation of controversies, whether it be related to violence, sex, violence in video games, that sort of thing. Variations, really, of quite a serious and debatable topic, so I expect it to be quite fun for everybody. Just a quick blurb, though. I'm from The Gaming Rig, which can be found at www.TheGamingRigUK. We're, I guess, an independent freelance website for gamers, made by gamers. We're all gamers ourselves. We buy all our games ourselves. We kind of review them ourselves and everything like that. So if you ever want to get involved or you ever want to come and check us out, as I say, jump over to www.TheGamingRig.co.uk. We're on Google Hangout tonight, so it's pretty relaxed. Kind of people come and go, join us when they can, if they can. So just generally speaking, really, my name's Alan. I'm from the site, kind of the owner, the leader of the site, and I'm always looking really to bring fans in as much as possible. So if you ever want to email us, come along to the website. Our contact details are all on there, and let us know. Okay, so to start, if we could just give a quick intro, just so who you are, your name, what game you're really enjoying this week, and then we'll make a start. First one, Kieran.
Hello, my name is Kieran, and I'm a reviewer for the site, which is pretty awesome. I've done one review so far, so check it out on the website. My game I'm playing at the moment is Tomb Raider, and we had a little bit of chat about it earlier, and it's awesome. Just going to say, put it out there. It's the best game I've played in a long, long time. So I head you back over to Alan.
Okay, cool. Moving on then, we got Ryan in. You want to introduce yourself?
Howdy everyone, my name's Ryan. I've written a few reviews for the website myself. I've done one review for the website actually, but I frequently hope to contribute a little bit more to these podcasts that we do because I thoroughly enjoy these. Game I'm playing at the moment, thoroughly enjoying, is alongside Tomb Raider, obviously, Far Cry 3, which considering I don't like sandbox games, has really impressed me so far. So yeah, enjoying that.
Cool. And William?
Yeah.
If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm William, and I do some reviews. I've done a few now, I think.
Yeah.
Like Blood Bowl and stuff, mostly PC stuff. Do some news as well. That's enjoyable at night. I've been playing mostly SimCity lately, and
that has been finding that?
That's been frustrating the hell out of me.
Oh, sure.
Not even because of the servers. I run out of money so fast in that thing. And I've also been playing Arma 2 with Marcus, but he only plays from 2 in the morning till 5 or 6. So yeah, that's me.
That's cool. William spoke about Marcus. He's another reviewer on the site. He's one that's been around really from the beginning, which is good. So hopefully get him involved in one of these podcasts one day. Generally speaking, though, Toby will be joining us a bit later. He's another reviewer for the site. I'm always open. We all are. I think I speak for everybody when I say fans ever want to join us for one of these. They're usually on Monday nights. I think every fortnight is the new structure. So if you're happy to come online, you can either come on with a webcam, your mic, whichever really, and join in the topics we have. I'd like to think we're all quite nice, so shouldn't be worried. And if you want to join in, email us at TheGamingRigUK@gmail.com. That's TheGamingRigUK@gmail.com. Just with some details about yourself, and we'll go from there. So if fans do want to join in one of these podcasts and have some 5-minute fame on YouTube, just let us know. Really, it'd be really good to have some fans in and get some input that way. So starting off really, little blurb really about today's topics. Over the past few weeks, we have discussed the highs and lows of the video game world. However, one topic that comes up time and time again are video games and controversies, whether it be anything relating to violence, sex, aggression, or even addictions. Chances are somewhere the media is trying to link a correlation of these factors to our beloved video games. So we're gathered around the table tonight to discuss just that. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So Kieran, sex and violence in video games. Too much? Not at all? Too less? What's your thoughts?
I think it's just right, really. Especially on some violent games. I know there's a lot of games out there. We were talking about Dante Inferno being probably one of the biggest ones for me, especially having Satan have cocks and There's a load of tits everywhere in the game, but I think it's not too bad. I think it could get worse later on. I can see it getting quite bad, especially with a lot of the games coming out, especially for PlayStation 4 and stuff. I can see like the new God of War. Apparently, that's been getting a high rating of violence in it. But come on, every God of War is like that. But I can see it. I can see it getting worse and worse. But I'm fine with violent video games. I know that it affects some kids out there, but it doesn't affect me at all in the slightest. So I like sitting there watching the gore, especially again. Don't bring it back to Tomb Raider, but Lara Croft, she gets pummeled in that game. But she gets like a spear through her head. And she dies, and like, well, that's average. You can get a spear through your head, but it's where games take it.
Average, is it?
Yeah, average. People spears in their heads all the time. But I find violence in video games make the game more realistic.
Okay.
You can't, like again in like Call of Duty, in some like games in Call of Duty, if you blow off someone's leg, they can't walk. They'll just die by bleeding out. You can see that happening. There's so many games where violence is necessary for that game to work.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Violence is okay for me.
So you think it's just the right amount of level?
Yeah, if it can go overboard. Again, Dante Inferno did go overboard with the violence, but again, it's based on what, a poem, and it's meant to be violent. It's meant to go out there and say, yeah, this guy went into hell and fought for his girlfriend or his wife or whatever, and it is violent, and it's not. That's just too much violent. Where some games have the. I'm just going to say, yeah, violence is okay for me.
Have you ever played a game and felt, whoa, that's a bit too much?
Call of Duty. There's two parts in Call of Duty which we're heading on later, but I'm still going to point them out. Modern Warfare 2. When you have to go into an airport, you can skip the mission at any time. Yeah. You go into an airport and shoot civilians.
Yeah.
I don't know why they put that in, but again, way too violent. I did actually enjoy it myself, though. I'm just not gonna lie. I did actually enjoy just having a light machine gun just spraying everyone down.
So you like your violence to be way too violent, then?
It was just
I love the fact, like, morality went into question with your favour is the fact that you went, whoa, this is too much, but I'm fucking loving it.
It felt different, and I just enjoyed it because...
I think the controversial fact in that one was it's close to home. It's very much, I mean, you know...
It's happened before. Yeah. Another one is in Modern Warfare 3. I don't know if any of you guys played it all the way through, but there's also another sequence, but you don't do anything. It's a cutscene, and it's a bomb. There's bombs all over London, and
I remember this.
Yeah, there's a little girl and her mother, and the dad is taking a picture, and the thing explodes. A kid dies in a game. You can't kill a kid in a game. That is just wrong. That's wrong. Like you can't kill a kid. Yeah, you can't kill a kid in Skyrim. You can kill everyone else, but you can't kill a kid. But in Call of Duty, yes, you can. They can kill a kid. That's wrong. I think killing a kid.
I think that's the question. Sorry, William.
You can kill kids in PC Skyrim. You can just mod it to kill them.
Oh, really? Well, yeah. I don't have PC Skyrim.
Don't tell him that. That's another thing he's going to enjoy.
People exist that can mod our games and allow us to kill children. Don't love a democracy, people.
But it's just so many of these games are now getting so realistic. Again, with the airport thing, it has happened before. Planes being taken over, bombs going off. It's getting too close to that, and that's where some of these people are getting ideas.
But games, movies are can be a reflection of real life events.
Yeah.
I don't
like,
know.
You know, well, we went into it. It was a sore subject, or what James made a comment of the kid going to school with a gun and shooting a lot of people. Yeah. It is a very sad story, but again, there's been a lot of claims behind that because he played video games.
Right.
again, it doesn't affect me, but it does affect some people out there, and it does affect with their minds. So they have to limit themselves of what violent games they play. Again, Call of Duty may not be the best. FIFA Pinata may be best for them. But again, yeah, I know, yeah.
I don't know. That game pretty frustrated me at times.
Yeah, I sometimes want to hit someone over the head with a spade.
First impressions, Kieran, aren't in your favour, are they?
I just find, again, there's a lot of people out there that do take it to heart and do mess with their heads. So for me, it doesn't. For a lot of people out there, it does.
So you do think there's a correlation there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see if anybody else disagrees. Okay, so anything else on that subject? But you're kind of on the level of we're at a right amount and we shouldn't really go any more into it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And Ryan, sex and violence in video games. What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, violence in video games, it's very much silly and exaggerated and over the top, and I think that's what rubs a lot of people up the wrong way. People who've been playing games for a long time, I think they're aware that, you know, the violence is exaggerated, it is silly, and it isn't something you take seriously. Like, it's gotten to the point now where, like, you shoot someone in the head in a video game, and they don't fall down dead, not before a huge spurt of blood just goes all over the place. But I've kind of used that now, given the way games work, I use the blood as like a mechanic almost. If I see a huge spray of blood, I know that my bullets are hitting that person. So I don't look at it as this is a game being gory for the sake of gory. I look at it as a game going, yeah, it's a little bit over the top, but all video games are, and this blood is actually very good feedback for somebody who's playing the game. My problem is there seems to be people are just accepting how violent video games are becoming, even if, you know, I am a bit of an apologist for the violence in video games. The moment you stick sex in, people are like, oh, good God, think of the children! It's like, so you're happy. I saw in Tesco some guy, and his couldn't have been older than 5, this little boy, and he's going, which one do you want? He's got Far Cry 3 and the new Tomb Raider. He's like, he doesn't want either of those. He wants a better parent.
Don't buy the kid a game, put him up for adoption.
Exactly. You know? It's ridiculous, and I kind of think, like, people kick up such a fuss when there's sex in games, and it's like, if that kid grows to be 18 and fucks someone, I'm not going to be upset. If that kid grows up to be 18 and chins someone in the face with a pickaxe, then I'm going to be upset. Prioritise what you will and won't let your children see.
What happens, though, if that kid grows up, has sex, and go, achievement unlocked?
Then it's safe to say he will never have sex again. At least not with that girl. Or man. Let's not, mate.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. For some, every hole's a goal. Right. So
that's not what I'm saying.
So what's your level on it? So obviously Kieran likes to think we're at a current, I guess, a trend, or we're at a current time period where it's accepted. You know, it's enough. Do you think it's too much at times?
No, I don't agree in censorship, but I do believe in classification, which is what we have. We have game rating systems. People need to be more aware of that. Going back to that thing of the dad offering his 5-year-old son a chance to play Far Cry 3, people need to be a little bit more aware of what is and isn't suitable. And if people, if children are going to pick up violent games and the news are going to say, children are playing violent games, children are turning violent, blah, 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 it's like, don't blame the video games, educate people on it, educate parents on what isn't acceptable.
Okay. And do you see it increasing or lowering over time?
What, the violence in games?
Yeah.
I don't see it decreasing anytime soon. Video games nowadays are aimed at adults, and adults work very stressful jobs and very stressful lives. They want to kill things.
I'll own that with you right there. I hate when I get back from work. I'm like, just let me play some Black Ops 2 just so I can punch some noobs in the face.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's not worth saying. We would have to say where, but I'm pretty sure we all work in a customer-related role.
Oh yeah.
Could our choice in games reflect our current employment status? Do you think? Should that be
I used to play Mario until I got a job.
he got a job at a zoo and got kicked out for jumping on all the turtles.
Nice.
I learned.
And that's why I can never go back to Whipsnade.
Oh, bless. He's gotten really quiet. I think that's the truth. Okay, so anything else, Ryan?
Not for now, but stick around.
Cool, no worries. And William, sex and violence. What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't really mind it at all either way. Because have you ever played Witcher 2?
Yes.
Dreadful.
Well, it's not my cup of tea, but people seem to enjoy it, and there's a lot of sex and a lot of violence in that. You don't see many kids playing that, do you?
It's because it's terrible.
Point I was trying to make. I think there's not as much controversy being made when movies do it. But as soon as a game does it, and someone kills someone, it's like, yeah, games. What about the movies? There's like, look at Saving Private Ryan. That's probably the goriest film I've seen in quite a while, except for maybe Hostel.
Yeah,
that thing scared me. But yeah, I just don't see what the big deal really is.
See, I think the problem with the likes of Hostel for me, I don't mean to offend anybody, it may be, somebody's favourites, but it's just gory for the sake of being gory. And
it's the same as Saw, though, as well.
Well, because they did. It started out like the first one for me is still one of my favourites because it was a psychological road trip, and it was pretty screwed up. And obviously it became a franchise, much like everything else in this entire world. It always becomes some sort of trademark or franchise. But with Hostel, especially, it's like it was just gore. It was just like, this is gore for the sake of being gore.
Yeah.
There was no reason for it, and I feel that sometimes I play games and there's things needed to hit your your uncomfortable level. There are things needed, like when you play the new Tomb Raider. I won't spoil it too much, but like Kieran said, she gets pretty fucked up. I mean, there's a part where more or less close to gang raped by a pile of guys, and it was uncomfortable to watch and be a part of.
I don't know. I don't agree that's what they were insinuating. I don't think she gets close to being gang raped, and that was, maybe we'll come back to that because that was a massive controversy around about the time.
I just mean in the fact that she actually gets plummeted and her face gets punched in, and it was gory, and a lot of people wouldn't agree in it. But I get why, and if you play the whole game through and you know the origin of the Tomb Raider and stuff like that, she's been through a lot, bless her. But yeah, that was needed. But then when you get like, I don't know, like kill streaks or like random games which are just like arcade fun, but they've got like a headshot and the blood's just everywhere. It's like a fountain of blood. And
Gears of War.
I get yes and no, because that game is what it is. It's what likes to be typed man game. So, but there's other games I play. I can't think too much in theory what personal example, but they're just gory for the sake of being gory, a bit like a Hostel movie, and you just think to yourself. Having said that, if I really think about it, I'm more offended by stuff like Hostel than I am by Carmageddon or Gears of War or something like that. Yeah.
Maybe I can't justify why. I think it's almost because movies linger on it. Movies linger on and kind of pornographically almost, go for the violence. Whereas with games, it's incredibly violent, and they shrug it off as if it ain't no fang. Yeah. And maybe in a way that's better. Maybe it is less offensive that way. Maybe I'm a psycho. I don't know, but that's how I look at it.
No, I can see that, but I mean, to go out and say it doesn't get brought up in movies, it's still very much a controversial topic, and probably still as video games will stand the test of time, and I don't think you'll ever be able to answer it fully. But I just feel like with movies as well, sometimes it's gory for the sake of it, and you just feel like really isn't needed.
I can only really think of one game that was gory for the sake of gory, and that was Manhunt on the PS2.
Yeah.
That was just Rockstar trying to make the goriest possible game they could at the time.
Agreed. Yeah.
Then that got banned, then Hostel and Saw and all that came out, but nothing happened to them, and I just didn't see what the difference really was between the two. Yeah,
I see what you mean. I agree.
I can understand that. I mean, with Manhunt, though, I think it's because it got banned, it sold so well in the end anyway, because I think people wanted to be a part.
I think with Manhunt is more that you were playing as the character. Instead of us watching, like, Saw, for instance, you're just sitting there watching a couple of, like, characters on a
Cut each other's arms off.
Yeah, cut each other's arm off. But in Manhunt, you're actually playing as the character. You're actually in the world of Manhunt. That's the difference.
It's an excuse to talk about one of the most covered video game controversies, and that is that Manhunt wasn't actually banned. A lot of stockists refused to sell it, because when I was working in Argus, I remember we had a pile as tall as me, like twice as tall as me. Obviously, they cut it in half. They didn't try and stack it all. That would have been silly. But they were returning it, and I was like, well, what's going on here? And my manager said, there's been a report in the news that a kid played this game for 15 million hours and then went and killed someone. Now, this was all over the news, right? Turns out, the person who played Manhunt constantly was the victim of this murder, not the murderer himself. So, yeah.
It's how it's fun, and that's something we'll talk about a bit later, I guess, as well, is just the media and how they spin it all.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes not as bad as you think and you hear. Like, we will talk about like the controversial factor in a minute. But yeah, definitely. I think the media doesn't help video games nor movies really. That's what I think.
Did you hear about this was in America after that kid shot the children? They weren't the parents, they were other people there. They planned a burning of video games.
Oh god, I read about that, yeah.
And if you went along with the video game, they were going to give you a gift certificate to use in, I think it was like one of the shopping centres, like where they were going to do it. And people that were going to go before it was cancelled were going to give their Valorant video games, you know, like really crap, like Super Nintendo ones they really hated and stuff. Use those, go in and get Xbox games and stuff.
I shouldn't even laugh if that's horrible, but it's so... I just ban my games just because of video games are violent. But I get some more games which are even more violent and even have more better graphics now.
I'll trade in this copy of Super Mario World for Call of Duty, please.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Why would you do that? Keep Super Mario World.
I would keep Super Mario World.
I don't know if you are fans and you follow. I posted up a picture from another site called Video Game Memes, which is quite a good little site.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually pretty good. You got these super soldiers in Call of Duty that was probably sprint for like I'd say 9 to 10 seconds, and then get knackered, and then you have to repress the sprint button to run again. Remember, and these are like elite soldiers. You know, we're talking highly skilled, highly professional. You're close enough to Terminators, basically, is how the Call of Duty went to portray them. And then you got Mario, a fat plumber that can run miles with ever stopping. What does that say? What does that actually say?
Yeah.
That guy runs for like a year for me.
Bless.
Yeah, I bet
You've got to wonder how he feels. Like, as he's going, maybe his brain is going, oh, Jesus Christ, I've started and I can't stop. It's going to keep going.
How's he not got thin?
Sorry?
How's he not got thin?
Because he does eat a lot of mushrooms on the way.
True. That is true. That is true. And if you play the later mode, he gets into plants as well, doesn't he? So
he does.
Probably,
yeah.
He likes
and flying and flying.
Yeah.
He's off his tits in the later games.
Sorry?
He's off his tits in the later games.
I mean, yeah, Super Mario Galaxy is not of this world.
Can you imagine the sequel title? So Super Mario 2, he's off his tits.
Super Mario tripping balls.
Cool. We'll move on to question 2, the controversial factor then. So Hideo Kojima of Metal Gear Solid franchise and fame, brilliant fucking man right there, recently stated he would like his new project, Ground Zero, go and check it out, there's lots on it and looking brilliant as well, to, and I quote, push the controversial factor. So by this, and I mean not just Mr. Metal Gear Solid there, but like others have tried and will do to kind of, I wouldn't say maybe push for sales or push for something else, like Kieran with the Call of Duty and the airport scene. We all probably know about it, or if you haven't, you've probably seen about it in the news. But it's more or less where you can go into part of an airport and you can gun down unexpected bystanders, and that's it. That's how long does it last for? A minute, is it, or something?
It lasts about 2 minutes.
A minute to 2 minutes, and then more or less you can skip out of it. You don't have to do it. It even comes up with a warning saying, "Warning: this may offend," etc., etc. So I'm wondering, to sell those sales, they probably didn't need it to it anyway. But unlike the minders say, like Hideo Kojima, Mr. Metal Gear, do you think games now, or do you think games will push for the controversial factor to get more sales? And should they, Kieran?
I think they will do, because sooner or later, as you were saying about the blood earlier, Ryan, about hit and miss, the graphics are going to get a lot better, especially coming up with these new consoles. Yeah. So again, it's going to push up saying, like Metal Gear, let's go Metal Gear Rising, or with I can't remember his name, Raiden or whatever his name is.
Nobody remembers Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden doesn't remember Raiden.
But I play the demo. That I can guarantee. Like what I was saying from Ryan, you know when you're going to hit someone because the blood comes out of them. But when you go into slow motion, you can cut down to the tiniest bit, and the blood will go everywhere.
Isn't it brilliant?
I know, right? I know, but it's pushing the extra limits. Like the games, like again, Raiden pulls out the spine of someone. Again, it's pushing the limits and limits and limits of a console. Now, when the consoles get better, it's going to push it even more. Sooner, there's a part in Tomb Raider. Again, going back to Tomb Raider, where she falls into a pool of blood. Pool of blood, and then she comes out and she's just covered in blood. I'm like,
it looks like a reference to Apocalypse Now, if anybody's ever seen it.
It's that you wouldn't see that you wouldn't see that, say, before the Xbox came out, would you? No. You would just see her just coming out the blood, but just normal clothing still. There wouldn't actually be any graphics on its own. She was in a pool of blood. But now the graphics are so advanced, you can see the blood on her. When she gets stabbed into the chest by this pole, you see the pole go through her. You see the blood come out. It's getting so advanced. The graphics are insane. I'm trying to think of some other games now.
Hitman?
Yes.
Absolution
Hitman.
With the Nuns?
Nuns. The Nuns are quite bad in it. I remember just playing through Hitman, just trying to find out different points. Like, you can kill someone without showing any blood, but you poison them or poison their cocaine. But again, it's still pushing. It's like on the first level, but you're still pushing that limit of trying to find a different way of killing someone without having the gore, but you're still trying to kill them. But that's what Hitman does. That's what I like about Hitman. There's different ways of killing someone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn out into a Hitman myself, but I like those type of games.
I mean, do you feel that they push this controversial factor to try and be original?
Yeah, I think they do, especially with the new Metal Gear. I didn't see it much in Devil May Cry. It felt like a normal Devil May Cry. I didn't feel like there was too much blood in it. With the other Devil May Cries, there wasn't that much blood as well. There was literally just the hit markers, and that was it, the combo moves. But especially in Hitman, when you get a hammer to someone's head, you hear the crunch, you hear the snap. The sounds as well, what make the game. That's what you can, like, when you're cutting through someone on Metal Gear, you hear the slash, you hear the person cry out. That's, it, again, is pushing it further, but sooner or later, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
And do you think, that's what I'm saying, to go back to the original question then, do you think it's to get more sales?
It is to get more sales, I think, especially coming... Like, again, Dead Space, that game is all relied on gore. Different ways of dying, you die different ways. You pulling on someone's limb, you even kick a baby in the face. I'm not even joking. You pull off a baby from your face, and you're like, kick the baby! From South Park.
Yeah, that's true. You mean number 2, don't you?
Yeah, it's number 2, yeah. It's pushing, it's going to get worse, but it's going to push the sales. Like, for me to buy Dead Space, it's like, it's really gory. Oh, let's see how gory it is. Oh my god, it's really gory! It's like, it's gory. It's to push the sales. Again, like we were saying about Call of Duty. I don't think the aeroplane mission was to push the sales. With Call of Duty, everyone on Call of Duty don't care about the campaign. They all care about online, and I care about online.
So why add it in?
Why add it in to there? It is pretty bad, and we all knew it was going to come because they even announced it was going to be a really bad part, and they said they were going to take it. Well, there was a lot of critics at the time saying, "Take this out the game now. This is really, really bad, especially after 9/11. This is bad. This is very bad." And I'm thinking, this is not how they're pushing the sales. They're pushing the sales because of online. This is just in the game, just part of the campaign. But you don't have to play it. That's what I like. With a lot of games, you have to play this gory part. So, but you have an option, because I know that kids are going to play this game. You have an option to change that, get past that level. Where with Dead Space, that's it. You're with gore. That's it. If you're playing that game, you're going to play that the bloody way. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in some options, because obviously we speak quite openly, we like some of this. You know, it's an enjoyment. It adds to the experience of playing a game. But there are options in games where you can turn the gore off and things like that. So.
Yeah, like Gears of War 1, you can turn the swearing and the blood off, which I didn't really like because I got really bored. But yeah,
definitely. But you can understand how. I wonder how, when you have games that don't give the option, how those players. This is kind of open to everybody now. How those players play. Like if you play a game and you're not happy with it. You understand what I mean? So like you don't like the violence, but yet you're subjected to it because there's no option to turn it on. I wonder how they feel.
I think they'd feel the same way as if all of the guns in the Die Hard movie were replaced with broccoli. I mean, yes, it is less violent, but it also looks very, very silly, and no matter what your audience is, they're all going to notice that it looks very, very silly.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing Resident Evil without the zombies.
Yeah, like the zombies are all replaced with like marshmallows.
Fine, Capcom hasn't played with proper zombies for ages anyway.
Sorry?
No, I haven't. Come on, Resident Evil 5 didn't even have zombies in. It was just a couple of African people running around. That was it. There weren't zombies. And at the end of Resident Evil 5, what the hell was going on there? Zombies with machine guns?
Say what?
What? Yeah, again, it's not a zombie game anymore. It's just.
Well, there are. I was reading an article the other day. They are thinking of going back to scratch with that because they've seen the reception Revelations got.
Reboot.
Dad. We'll see. I mean, it worked in Tomb Raider's favour, so you know. Though, like I said in my review of Tomb Raider, there's a reboot machine now, very apparent, and has been for a good couple of years. It may go through. I don't know. I mean, I think even Cliff Bleszinski of Gears of War fame, he wants Resident Evil or something I was reading.
Yeah.
But he wants to take it to the horror factor. He doesn't want to. We can get on. We can do that for another topic another day. Actually, genres of games or something. But yeah,
genres of games were being ruined by, like Dead Space is being ruined. It's not a horror game anymore. It's a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Eventually, Tetris will be played with submachine guns. That's what developers are like now.
You could be onto something there, Ryan.
Every developer wants to be like Call of Duty.
Maybe they'll make it into like a shooter movie.
And it will have a campaign with this big bearded guy just going, "My God, there are blocks falling from the sky. We can line these in lines of 4 or more in order to score a tetrad. This one's gonna burn."
Brilliant. I love it.
I'll play it.
I love it. I'll play it. I think we should try and fucking IP this.
Oh my God!
A limited edition.
Tetris the movie.
We needed a straight line. They're dropping a box. Oh my God!
Oh wow, brilliant.
Get Bruce Willis to play the leader.
Oh, definitely. Okay, all right then. So, I mean, we can say, I mean, without speaking too much, I suppose, on it, because it's not really a topic of video games, but well, I suppose it is. I guess is our comfortable level is completely different in this generation than it was 30, 50 years ago. Like the games we watched, the movies or games we played were for 18. When we played them, would pass probably as a 12 or a 15 now, because the younger generation has more of a. Do you understand what I mean? Like I agree with you on that one. That's maybe in a way the games aren't that controversial because they get away with it. The Boarding's agency, you know, I can't think of many 18 games really. Most of them are under 18, unless they're really doing something, you know,
pushing the barrier even.
Yeah.
I agree with you because I just remember playing games where when I was younger, I was like, oh, can I get this game? And my mum was like, it's an 18, you cannot have it. I'm like, okay, so I'm still playing Spyro or Crash Bandicoot. But now, later on, you're just thinking, these games were not violent. I'm 21 and I'm playing these games, or even worse, these games were never violent.
Yeah.
So,
I think, like I say, I think we're living in a different generation now. Where it's
again, as I was saying about the consoles are getting more advanced and maybe had to do more things. It is all relying on the consoles of what they can do and how they can push the graphics even higher and make the game flow more smoothly and everything. That's what I find. If we had the same game, if we had like say Dead Space out on PlayStation 1, it wouldn't be the same if you were playing on the Xbox.
I don't know. I don't think that the rating of games is going to get higher or more or less lenient depending on how good the graphics are. The whole reason we have a game rating system is because of Mortal Kombat. The very first Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
You laugh, it's true.
It is, he's right.
When that came out, that was an 18, and that was a SNES game. And, we all saw how gory that was. Uppercutting people in the balls, blood flying everywhere, rib cages being pulled out of people's chests, and, compared to today, the graphics are laughable, but the fact remains it still had a 15-18 rating.
Yeah.
So I think really it's got less to do with how good the graphics are and more the context.
I say with the new Mortal Kombat though, you have X-ray vision to know where you punch.
Oh yes.
That again, the graphics are taking it further. They're pushing the barrier even more. Like there's a parts where you just rips again. You saw it in the old one where I don't know who does it, but I don't really play Mortal Kombat. I'm more a Street Fighter type of guy. But you rip someone's cranium and their spine out through the top of the head. It was just very pixel blood. But now you actually see the gushes of blood just come out their body now.
What was interesting as well, Ryan was speaking about the Mortal Kombat thing, was that it took a while to actually pass through a board, didn't it? Because it was the first time they really had to think. The Mortal Kombat gets re-released, like Kid said, epic detail of bones being broken and blood being shed. That just went straight under the radar. Oh yeah, that's a Mortal Kombat. We know what to expect. Slap a 15 or is it a 15, 19? I can't remember now.
It's an 18.
Yeah, slap an 18 on it. We know what to expect. So so in a way, they already know what's coming through before it's come through.
Yeah, and even if those graphics are getting more gory, even if our rib cage explosions now come with X-ray vision, it's over the top, it's silly, and it's in very gruesome detail. But I think the problem is more context. Whether it's more gory or more violent or more up close than ever before, the fact is someone's rib cage is being ripped out. Slap an 18 on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think maybe down the line that will then be lowered again. I don't know. I think it goes round and roundabouts. And like I say, when Exorcist was first ever released, that was banned. Then it was re-released, and people watch it now and they laugh. I think we're just living in a different generation where it's more acceptable.
We're used to violence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be fair, you could argue it's because news and media is streamed to us 24/7 now. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, like there's a war in Iraq. We know.
I mean, you say about the bad parent, with buying Far Cry and buying. I get that. That was a bit young, but you have kids that will get hold of this anyway.
Yeah.
They'll go around their friend's house, they'll play the game, and then they go, oh, it's really good. I won't get my parents to buy it, but I'll just play around my mate's house without my parents knowing.
They're gonna.
I did that. I know I did that. I'm going to put my hand up saying, yes, I did go around my house and play something.
First ever GTA. I wasn't old now, I went 18 then. Put it that way. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. But,
everyone's done it here. We all know that we've all done it. We went around our mate's house because our parents wouldn't buy that game because they've heard it was that bad. So we just go, well, I'll go around my friends' house to play board games. Not really. I'm going to play some video games without you knowing.
Okay, so Ryan, quickly touching on then. So the controversial factor. Does it help sales, or is it just part of the gaming experience?
I think a lot of the time games will run on controversy in order to push sales. Like the first Grand Theft Auto did it. It was actually a very clever advert, but it did play on the whole controversy thing. And it was a 2-page spread. Like it was on one page, you turn the page over, and then it was on the other page. And it said on the first page, it said Grand Theft Auto was so good it won a certificate before it was released. And then you turn it over, and it's the 18 certificate.
Nice.
It was just playing off the controversy, but it was a very clever advert. And I think going back to Hideo Kojima, talking about pushing the envelope, I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because I think he should, and I think every game developer, not every, but I think a lot of game developers shouldn't be afraid to push the envelope. There are two things that will ensure that this is a fucking catastrophe. The first being that game developers seem absolutely incapable of approaching tough subjects responsibly and sensibly. Right. The second is that even if they did approach this responsibly and sensibly, the fucking moral majority would throw their hands up and say, "Somebody said rape in Tomb Raider!" And they just like, "We can't have that." It's like, yes, you know, we like a bit of rape in our films and in our TV, but not if there's a controller in our hands. Because, like, you know, people are still very far behind, and they're very much of the idea, especially people who haven't grown up with video games, and maybe, again, that's not entirely their fault, but they're still very much of the idea that video games are Super Mario, Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot. They don't fathom that games are violent now, that people who grew up with games and are still playing games are a lot older now. They're still of the idea that games are child's playthings. Yeah. So I think absolutely we should not be afraid to push the envelope. We should not be afraid to cover issues that are in TV and in film in video games. I don't trust developers to do it properly, because a lot of them are fucking stupid and a lot of them will insult our intelligence. And I don't think if anybody ever did do it properly, the moral majority would understand that. They wouldn't get it.
Do you think there's one thing a game can include that would cause an uproar?
Until the release of Child Molester 2, I don't think so.
What the fuck, 2?
Oh yeah, the first one, that'll be alright, but Child Molester 2 will have better graphics. And it will stop more people.
It'll have connect.
No! Don't say that!
Instead of a leaderboard, you've got an offenders register.
Is this a simulator game?
The first one's just Tetris with babies, but the second one is a simulator, and that's where the controversy really kicks in.
That's the worst.
We don't have a leaderboard.
I think you broke Alan.
Oh dear. Oh. That was good comments. I really like that.
It'll be interesting to see the YouTube comments on this one.
They'll be all like, "Yes, please." Video games.
You'll see this on Kickstarter soon.
Alright, yeah, Toby, controversial factor, in or out?
Neither. I'm probably quite untouched in the that sounds weird, in the controversial factor of games, because I think if the game's built to sell it for violence, then it doesn't really matter because it's a game. Right. Like, if people just take it for what it is, which is a game, which isn't real, then I think it's fine. But it's when people take it too far, obviously. So
do you mean like the inclusion of killing people in an airport?
Yeah, that sounds a bit far-fetched. I mean, yeah, it's not. I haven't actually played it, so I don't even know that bit. But yeah, it sounds.
I mean, because you quite like your platform games, don't you? You kind of enjoy your Marios and things like that, don't you?
Yeah, see, that was another thing I was going to touch upon. If you think about it, the majority of games that you play, every game that you play, could be classed as violent, depending on which way you look at it. Because in Mario, you're stomping on turtles and shoving plants with fireballs in their mouth. And Kirby, you're eating people, so you're just stuck in your abilities. But it depends. I think it depends which way they market it, because like a game like Mortal Kombat, like you were saying earlier, that like I played the most recent one, and that one Like, it actually made me feel sick. Some of the like the fatalities, they look absolutely rank. They actually look disgusting. Like, I don't know why. I don't mind playing it. It's just a bit of fun. But if it goes any further than that, I don't know what. There's not really much. I don't know how they could actually, because they are all pretty real nowadays. But things like Call of Duty about war and that sort of thing, that's kind of, it's in there. Like, violence is a part of war. Although I'm not sure if they overextend that violence, but.
Oh yeah, no, Call of Duty. The first couple of games were very dramatic and you know had their drama to it. Yeah. Where the next ones now are you're just your Hollywood blockbusters. I mean, they may as well throw an Iron Man in one of the Call of Duties. It's just a bit like, it's so far fetched, it's unbelievable. It's gritty.
The games that have far fetched blood, there's another thing. I thought of loads of things to say, but I completely forgot everything. I'm trying to cram it all into one little sum it up. I don't mind them because they're meant to be over the top. Like the one that springs to mind, actually, well, there's two. No, there's one. The first No More Heroes game, when it got localised to the UK, they took the blood out. So basically, when you killed your enemies, they just kind of splurted into black.
Yeah.
Blackness, pixelated, blacks and coins mixed in there as well. Which you could argue isn't realistic, obviously, so people might not want that. So for the second one, they actually added the blood in, which you could turn off as well. But you could, like, from playing the first one to having no blood, then to playing the second one, which is pretty similar, but just the blood, obviously. Like, you can see the impact, the difference. It does feel more real if it's got blood in it. So
you do feel that way then, that you could see the difference. You felt a change you felt a change in your game.
It's not like the game was better, but the game was just, like, it felt more realistic, even though that's a completely unrealistic game. It's like the most unrealistic one you probably could relate it to. But I think, it does depend the way that it's marketed. Because even, like, when you, Ryan, was saying about people thinking that games are just your Kirby's and your Spyros, and even making that connection assumes the fact that everything from your Kirby's and your Spyros and your Marios is kid-orientated. But if you look at what you're actually doing, it's not. Kind of thing. Not that I'm saying that it's violent, but if you're gonna say, if other games are classed as violent, then there's equally violent games that aren't classed as violent. So that's really confusing.
No, that's I can understand that. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is a part of me that thinks, like, I was playing Rayman Origins the other day. Oh god, I love it.
Yes.
But I was thinking, like,
that's an awesome game.
This is suitable for kids, but, and maybe I'm being a bit of a prude here, you're still punching and kicking people.
And grannies. There's grannies in that. You're punching grannies in the face.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, if you're going to look at it literally, yes, you are kicking grannies in the face in Rayman. Lovable, charming, colourful Rayman.
Yeah, it seems if it's not red and it's not splurting out people, then it's not violent and it's fine.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's very strange as well.
That's an interesting topic. That's an interesting topic, actually. The different perceptions of violence. Yeah, that's very true.
A lot of it's interpretation. You know, like, you wouldn't want your child to kick and punch someone in Grand Theft Auto, but you'd let them do the same thing in Rayman Origins.
Yeah.
That sounds like a silly thing to say, that you'd allow one, you shouldn't allow the other, because really, when you look at the intensity of the violence, Rayman Origins isn't quite up there with Grand Theft Auto. But at the same time, if your issue is the inflicting of pain on another being, then maybe Rayman Origins is a little bit out of your moral compass. Maybe that is, something that you don't agree with. I had a friend at school, God bless me, had the piss taken out of him something wrong. But his parents were very conservative, and they wouldn't let him play Worms.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Really? Nobody laughed at that? I laughed my arse off. Even so, his parents were uber conservative, and they wouldn't allow him to play Worms.
But, take away the worm fact, look what you're dealing with.
Exactly. People...
And they're all shooting bazookas and grenades.
I cannot believe we've gone from Mortal Kombat to Worms. Well, not actually Mario in between, but that's just...
Well, that's what I mean. I think it depends. It definitely depends which way it's seen.
Okay, cool. No problem. Thanks for coming on for that, Toby. Anything else?
No, I think so.
I mean, that was really good topic in terms of the different perceptions of violence. I didn't even really... Until you actually start, dissecting a topic, that's when you can kind of bring in things, can't you? So that was very good.
Yeah.
All right, William. Controversial factor, in or out?
I'm in. My favourite controversial factor was Bulletstorm.
Okay,
When they showed you shooting a guy's nuts and he screams in pain holding his nuts.
And you got an achievement for it. You got points for it.
I killed him.
If I remember correctly.
I killed him every time that way. Just because
it even called? What was the score point called for that? It was something like Nutcracker or something.
It may well have been.
Or below the belt. And every time I played that game, my favourite thing to do, kick him in the nuts, when they bent over, arm the pistol, put the rocket attachment on it, rocket up the bum. Never failed to make me laugh.
Oh wow! Oh bless you! You're getting inventive with your violence there, Ryan.
I like to involve genitals with my violence.
More genitals in games. That's what we need. But
yeah, we'll get to that in a minute as well.
Yeah, we will actually.
No.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm not looking forward to that part. Cool. Okay, so moving on to the next question then. We talked about the controversial factor, the moral factor. So by this, I mean games like Walking Dead, Spec Ops The Line, maybe even things like Bioshock, whereby they're pushing your mental moral statement. So the best way to, I guess, sum up Spec Ops The Line was you put in a war situation. You can only save either two parties. You have an orphanage full of children that's going to be bombed, or it doesn't happen in the game, but this is the best way to summarise. You have an orphanage full of children that's going to be bombed, or you've got a war veteran house full of war veterans that's going to be bombed. Who do you save? You can only save one. And then you make your choice, and then from there you realise how that's then affected the rest of the game. Same as Walking Dead. You can only save one person. How has that now affected the rest of the story? I'm on about games that not only just push the controversy, but make you regret or make you really, I guess, emotional about decisions you made. Kieran, what do you think?
Actually, I'm not going to talk about one of those games you just said. I'm going to talk about Splinter Cell Double Agent.
Okay.
Okay.
That's an old one.
Yeah, it's an old one, isn't it? Splinter Cell Double Agent. There's a mission in it, and now with being a double agent, you have to be good at the same time as also being bad. Now, if the bad people believe you're being good, they will literally just shoot you in the head. And if the good people think you're turning bad, again they'll hunt you down. There's one mission which shocked me, and I was probably 13 at the time. And what happened? You're on this cruise ship. Now the bad people want you to blow it up. The good people want you to not blow it up. I was so far being good that if I went past this mission and I didn't blow the boat up, I would just fail the game. So I blew the ship up. I actually had to put down the controller and go downstairs and have a drink. And my nan was just like, "What's wrong?" I killed about 2,000 people. And it's like, people I don't know. Again, I was 13 at the time. I shouldn't have that responsibility of choosing who lives or dies. But again, it felt so real that I could die, or those 2,000 people in that boat could die. And it actually affected me the whole day that I couldn't carry on playing a game. I actually had to go outside and just walk around and go, well, I'm going around my friend's house now, and just spend my day around my friend's house and not play any games, because it actually affected me so badly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And now you're 21. Do you have the same sort of feeling?
No, not
nothing
anymore.
phases you now.
No, nothing phases me. I think as I've gone past that point, it changed me in gaming. Like, I'd never seen a game where you have to make a choice, and then Splinter Cell done that in Double Agent, and I sat there, I was just thinking, I actually made a choice of killing those people, and now I just go around on Call of Duty, like in the terminal level, just shooting everyone down. It did change me, but I'm not going to go out in the street, as I said earlier, and shoot someone. I will just keep it in my room and shoot on games. But I
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I find games, it can change your perspective on violence. It doesn't, like playing Tomb Raider with a spear in your head, that didn't change. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. They added that in. It's like, normally, with a person who's never played a violent video game before, that will shock someone. But for me, I'm used to it, so again, yeah, choices in games can also change. It can also change in you, like personally. I think in Spec Ops: The Line, you agree with me. Spec Ops: The Line was a very good game, but again, the choices in the game, you didn't realise what was happening until the end of the game. That choices all added up, and you're like thinking, I kind of wish I did that differently.
Yes.
So, and also same as Walking Dead as well, because on the arcade, at the end of each episode, you find out how many people who plays that game, percentage of them people saved that person compared to that person, and what did they actually eat that food or didn't they eat that food?
I'm a 30-year-old male. I'm going to be sued, and I perspirated at the decisions in those games. I don't know about you guys. I sat there. I was good. There's 4 o'clock. Maybe it's because I was overtired, but it's like I was proper bit like, whoa. I was
there was on edge. Wet over the options, but I did cry like a child at the end.
Right. Yeah. Don't ruin it for anyone. Don't ruin it for anyone who hasn't played it. But there was a moment in the second part when someone gets bitten by a zombie and you don't know to save them or keep them alive. And I was just thinking, if I keep them alive, they could kill that little girl. And that little girl could be the key. That little girl's everything to do with Walking Dead. She's the character development for him. And I'm thinking, almost if he kills her, that's it. That's the end of the game. He's ruined.
Clementine is your everything in that game.
In that game.
But they do so well to make you have that.
Yeah,
every other game I've played, you want to kick a kid in the face. And Walking Dead, it's like, if anything happens to Clementine, I will be destroyed.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
At the end, again, I did exactly the same as I actually put my controller down. I was like, well, I'm just going to go outside now.
Yeah, I was going to get a glass. What I'm saying. When I finished that game, I was just like,
get a drink. Your nan's there.
Yo, he's dead. Oh, Clementine, what will you do? Just like you don't. It was the development in those two characters built so much. You actually had a heart for them, and that's what.
But I think it's because you had full control. It wasn't like an illusion of control. You pretty much it was a 1 or 2, so it's a 50-50 situation. But life's a 50-50 situation. Sometimes you get a choice to go down one road or you go down the other, and that's what portrayed in the game so well. I'm so thankful it won Game of the Year because it really was.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it done really
like, it wasn't a game that blew me away, but I'm glad that it won Game of the Year because it was a step up narratively. And if you ignored that, or if you hadn't made a big thing about that, games would not be maturing. Developers would not be stopping, looking at that and saying, we need to make a better storyline than Russian man guns down an airport. You know, it made people stand up and pay attention. So,
it's alright. It wasn't too. It didn't feel like they put too much pressure into the game. It felt so easy. It felt like it doesn't feel like you were playing a game. It just felt like you were watching an episode of Walking Dead. You just sat there and just like, well, this is what happens in Walking Dead. This was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Going back to the Tomb Raider thing, when we were talking about Tomb Raider being Game of the Year, we were like, oh my god, Tomb Raider's amazing, it's amazing! So, like, with something like The Walking Dead, it's that quietly confident, you kind of go, Walking Dead won Game of the Year. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Because I think it already it's cemented in our mind. I didn't even wake up now in cold sweat. It's going to die! But
why are you thinking of a little girl in your dreams? That's the thing I'm worried about.
She's going to be on that pedo board.
I'm not on the pedo board. She emotionally she emotionally wrecked me. Seriously. Like, just oh man, that game was harsh. Yeah. Have you actually played it yet, Toby? Toby.
Sorry, wait. Yeah, hello.
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead, no.
Get on it, man!
You must.
You need to.
It's a good. How much is it now? £10 for all 5 episodes or
something like that. You can get them on standalone disc now as well. And seriously, all it is a point and click game. There's nothing to it like that. Trust me.
It's so easy. The
first episode
is so nice.
The first episode's free for an iPads and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm back on iPad. Yeah, I'll find it somewhere.
Is it on the Wii?
No, of course it's not.
Wow. Okay. It may come out. I mean, they're looking to do season 2 anyway. I mean, it is coming on disc. I don't know if that was included with the Wii. I'll have to look into that, and I'll let you know, Toby. But okay. Moving back quickly to Ryan then. So morality factor, in or out?
I'm out for now. I'd like to be in future. This is a typical not straight answer for me, but it's interesting. You said earlier, like, life is a 50-50 thing, and like occasionally you're right, but I think it's where morals in games are going wrong. Like, morals in games are very binary. You have good and bad, and it's like, you know, you get to a point in the game, and it's like, feed a sick puppy with a broken paw, or blow up an orphanage. And it's like, well, I know what's going to happen if I do one of these. I know that one's going to build up my good factor, and one's going to build up my bad. You know, life isn't a life or morals isn't a load of options that you can pick or choose and stick into one category or another. You know, Bioshock did it with the Little Sisters, Dishonored does it with whether you kill or knock people out. Sleeping Dogs, which was pants, had like the police bar.
No, I was going to say, Sleeping Dogs didn't do it properly. Sleeping Dogs, that's one thing what ruined it for me. Sleeping Dogs just didn't work with the good side and the bad side. It just was just like, you can be bad, but if you run over someone, the police won't really care. And
it's like whichever way I play this, I'm going to get upgrades.
Yeah, exactly.
Whichever way I play this, I'm going to get upgrades. And I think you know, we can't.
But if you didn't have that morality factor, you say should have come later, you wouldn't have Walking Dead.
Sorry, say again.
You said about the morality factor should come later in the future, not now.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't have had Walking Dead.
I'll get to Walking Dead. I didn't think Walking Dead was about morality because none of the choices in Walking Dead, and yeah, maybe this does make Walking Dead a much better game. None of the choices in Walking Dead were moral because no matter what decision you made, you were fucked. You just had to live with your decision. You had to live with whichever decision you thought was slightly less shit than the other. Yeah. And again, you know, it was because Walking Dead could stretch that over 5 episodes, and the whole game was just about decisions. They did it properly. They didn't just get away with it. They pulled it off with a plum, and they didn't make it binary either. It wasn't like give Clementine food / kick Clementine in the face and call her a bitch. It was like you have 5 items of food. You've got 10 hungry people. Who do you feed?
Oh yeah, that was in the first episode, wasn't it? And you just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I gave it all to the kids.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah,
I did the kids first, and then I went from there. But I didn't take any for myself. I don't know about you guys.
I didn't take any for myself. I did give it to the grumpy old git though. He was a prick the whole way through.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because there were only 3 kids and 5 items of food. I thought it's easy enough. I can give these 3 bits of food away to the kids. I don't like any of the adults here, and I'm also being accused of favouritism. Yeah. Who do I give these 2 pieces of food to? That is how you do it. That is how you put morals into a game. That is how you give somebody difficult decisions. You don't have 2 pieces of, you don't have 1 piece of food, Pope on one side, white supremacist on the other. You have 5 pieces of food, 10 people, 3 that it's easy to give to, and 2 more pieces of food that could have drastic repercussions, even if you give it to the most innocuous person in that group. So I think, again, this is why Walking Dead definitely should have won the award it did, because it is the first and only game that took morals, cause and effect and did it properly. Person shooters, and they have good and bad choices, and it's like, I'm shooting people. No matter who I'm shooting, I am taking human lives. Don't stick a fucking good or bad meter on this. I just sniped someone's eye out of the back of their head. I don't feel like the Pope. So yeah, that's my view on it.
Just wondering until he'd make it in there. Okay, no, it's a good view. I can see what you mean. So until they do it properly, leave it out of games.
Yeah, and if you're going to do something like morality, it can't just be this binary choice system. It has to be the foundation of that game.
Yeah.
You just can't add it into a game. It has to be built upon that game. That's what Walking Dead did. And
absolutely.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Okay, so Toby, I'm not sure how you are with your psychology with games and things, but yourself, Toby, morality, yes or no?
I think my morality is yet to be tested.
Sorry?
In the gaming world. I said I think my morality is yet to be tested. Because if I'm playing a game and I'm facing decisions, the main thing I firstly think is, do I save first or do I quit? Because it makes me want, if I know there's like more than one outcome, or if I know there's multiple story branches, it makes me want to quit to see all of it, but it makes you, the game obviously is meant to be played more than once, usually.
Okay, yeah, so multiple endings and things.
Yeah, like things like that. It kind of, yeah, I've kind of avoided them. Don't think purposely, just...
But if you end up in your game, you will carry on playing, but you'll want to go back and see what else there was.
Well, no, see, I wouldn't want to, unless I really enjoyed the game, then I wouldn't want to replay again just to find out a couple of different decisions based on what Ryan was saying earlier, good or bad choices, depending on how it's fun. Then I'd rather just play it once, but then part of me would want to say, well, I need to see all of it. So then, yeah, I don't know, I just kind of avoid any decision making in games, it seems.
Well, I suppose I guess no, that's fair assumption. Is it because you don't like having that responsibility?
I don't know. I just haven't. No, I don't know. I don't know really. Can't really got an answer there for that one. Sorry.
Okay, alright, that's fine. Okay, William?
Yep.
Morality, in or out?
I'm half in, half out.
Okay.
Games like The Walking Dead were really good for it, but then there was games like Mass Effect 3, which destroyed the first two games, really. Because you go through these two games, they have really good decisions, and they can, as people, not really spoilers now, because at the end of 2, after all the decisions you made, you go through that, and certain people can die, or if you do it right, nobody will die. Then Mass Effect 3, none of it mattered because everyone died. It's just like, yep, see those choices you made?
So having that...
It just let people live a little bit longer.
Well, that predetermined fate in Mass Effect is what actually annoyed you.
Yeah, I haven't even played the third yet.
I'll say that about Mass Effect as well, is like you made moral decisions and like like you say, either people in your ship died or they didn't, and it's like, right, so you're giving me these decisions to make, these moral decisions, and they mean nothing because one of them is clearly the right one and one of them is clearly the wrong one. This isn't a moral decision. This is something that the developer has dictated for me.
Yeah.
And I found that annoying.
And then there's games like, I'll rip into James' favourite franchise right here, Fable, who give you moral choices to be good or bad, but at the very end, it means nothing. Because all it means is you're good or you're bad. You don't get rewarded or anything taken away for being one of these things. You're just like, yeah, you're a good guy, or yeah, you're a bad guy, and people run away from you. And it was so frustrating, that game, because I loved it. Then at the very end, I didn't get a reward.
Yeah, I did feel it was a very lackluster ending, especially with number 2, because I was kind of gearing up. At the end of the day, this guy killed my sister. Fucking, bring it on, I'm gunning for you. And it was just the most stupid boss battle in the world.
Oh, sorry, what was this game? Sorry, just
Fable.
Oh, Fable was another one as well. I was just sorry about this. I was thinking of one more game while I was getting a drink, and it was for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Also coming out for PlayStation 4. Infamous.
Right, go on then.
I don't know if you know. It is built on, again, your decisions in the game. You've been given these powers out of nowhere, because this city's like blocked off, and the first challenge you get, this food gets brought into to the city. Now you can either go up to the tower and you get the food. You can either feed everyone else, which will only last a week, or you can feed yourself and your friends for say a whole couple of months. That choice depends on what power you are. If you make the wrong decision, or you make, say, an evil decision, say, keep the food to yourself, your powers turn red, so you become powerful. Or if you make the good decision of giving it out to everyone. You get a blue power, which is even weaker, but you feel better about yourself. As another game, what kind of like, yeah, it worked quite well, but I don't like how it portrayed that, saying red gives you more power than blue gives you less power. That it just didn't work that well, but I like the decisions in the game.
Do you think it's predetermined, and as an open vote to everybody, because we're going to be closing up now, do you think it's in favour of being good in video games? Do you think you get better benefits? Do you get a better storyline if you do the good things? So in the end of the day, you get rewarded for it.
I think you get a better storyline, but you don't get rewarded for like powers and stuff, because what happens in Infamous, he just says there, it happens in other games too.
Examples?
I'm trying to remember the game it happened. Dishonored
happened. I think Prototype as well. I know Dishonored, I went through the game without killing a single civilian or killing without anyone, and I felt so weak. I wasn't upgrading any of my powers. I just felt really, really weak, and I just was like, I didn't feel like this muscly bodyguard. I felt like I was like a little scrawny little kid, just sneaking around pretending to kill people. It just didn't feel that good to me.
And if you were evil, you just go fly through the game easily. You're the most violent person. Here, eat these rats and all this stuff. It was just like you're just the most overpowered guy if you're evil in a game. It seems now.
And are there any games? What about you, Ryan? Do you think that?
What about whether being good or bad affects the enjoyment of the game?
Or how you are rewarded, if you're rewarded?
I think, again, it takes what should be a moral choice with, like, much less black and white repercussions and basically, like, makes it worthless. I mean, why should I have to be an arsehole if I want to be powerful in this game? Why can I not be the good guy and, you know, still be as powerful as the bad guy? Why can't I be a bad guy and, you know, be weaker throughout the game or stronger? I just think, you know, when you give moral choices, they're no longer moral when you make the repercussions, you know, they're no longer moral, and they're no longer even choices if you make the repercussions obvious from the very beginning of the game.
Yeah. Or nil and void.
Yeah, all null and void, because you can't pigeonhole like that. You can't pigeonhole any kind of moral question into, if you do this, this will happen, if you do that, that will happen, and it will always happen that way without fail. That's almost a dangerous message to give about morals.
It's just saying be a bully and you become powerful. That's it. If you're a bully at school, you get everything that you want. But
not all games are like that. You say about Prototype and Infamous because they're kind of similar games, but there are other games. There's a Mass Effect. I've never completed all the trilogy, but isn't it if you go run a game the whole way through, you don't get that much in terms of perks?
I think it changes. You get different perks.
But they're not as highlighted as they were if you were to choose like the good route. And there's other games I've played as well which seem like that as well. Like if you choose to be good, you're rewarded for being good.
I don't know if again, going back to Mass Effect, I don't know if it rewards you for being good, but I'm pretty sure it will give you different powers. And Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, as far as I remember, that's a similar one. That's one that had dark powers and light powers, which unlocks depending on how you play. I'm not really an RPG person. If I ever play an RPG, it comes and goes, and I very quickly forget about it, so I could be wrong.
Okay. I mean, no. To be fair, it's all valid points tonight. I think we covered quite a bit. I guess to end on then is kind of like the future in video games. I mean, is there anything you want to see more of, less of? Kind of open vote, so whoever talks gets the table. But go for it.
I want to see a sequel to Fur Fighters.
I want to see another Conquer Live and Reloaded. Well, another Conquer game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a controversial game, which was actually a kiddie style game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was done in a kiddie style way, wasn't it?
Especially
I think when it sorry, you were thinking?
The poop monster or the shit monster.
I am the great mighty pool.
that again, yeah, it's very controversial. Like I think Conquer Live and Reloaded was amazing. I think it was really, really good. If they made another one, I think yes, it would be. It would take it to the next step, and that's another thing what we're talking about. I don't mind that game taking the next step because it is designed for the older generation, but it looks really kid-like. It's a joke. Yeah. is a take. Like a
Juxtaposition.
squirrels fighting teddy bears. What's not funny about that?
But it's reference to Saving Private Ryan, which is
exactly. Yeah.
Just the most twisted slant you can possibly put on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
brilliant. I did love that game.
very, very fun, very good. And even today, you would never believe, like, if you've played the remake, you'd never believe that was on the last generation Xbox.
It looks
still looks like a 360 game.
Yeah.
You could pass off for one, definitely.
Like the online again. As I said, I'm like a massive onliner. I like playing online games, but
that's fine. I like the fact that these groups have different players in them. I think that's good.
I like the online play mode, especially the best map was the D-Day map. It felt like Saving Private Ryan. You're running away from running up the beach to get to the main area. That was awesome. I had so much fun playing that.
Again, I never touched the Conquer multiplayer. I have played so many games and never once known what the multiplayer was like.
With you on that one, Ryan. With you on that one.
Yeah.
I think
my multiplayer stretches to a bit of Call of Duty and they're being teabagged by a 9-year-old, and then Halo and being teabagged by a 9-year-old. So that's as far as my multiplayer experience goes.
I think being teabagged by a 9-year-old is one of the achievements in Child Molester 2.
I bet this will be a game sooner or later, probably next gen console.
This is a planned franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, it's by Activision.
I've really enjoyed tonight. Thank you for all coming out. I hope you had some fun.
We did.
Just to kind of end on then, really wrapping up, we'll be doing this again in 2 weeks, Monday. So if you're all free or if you want to come along, I'm not entirely sure of the topic yet. We'll look into it. But I don't know if you're going to be around, Toby, if you're working back holiday weekends or, you know.
Can the topic be soundtracks?
I'm not.
It could possibly be soundtracks. Let's put it to vote, I think. But yeah, generally speaking, just to end on, we're all the team from The Gaming Rig, www.TheGamingRig.co.uk. Come along, check us out. Again, if you want to come join us, fans, you know, it'd be really good to have you joining in and seeing what you have to say. If you want to come join these, they're doing every fortnight. So hit us up on TheGamingRigUK at gmail.com with some information or your kind of contact details, and we'll go from there. So until next time, thank you all. Would anybody like to say anything to end on?
I just want to share the first 10 seconds of the Show Go Mobile Armour Division introduction. That game is a first-person shooter. I just want to clarify.
And on that note, everybody, peace out. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching if you have stuck by us. There will be more as time goes along. Come check us out, www.thegamingrig.co.uk.